Hi, today we have a really fun project to do. And for this project, you're going to need a clean and empty can. But it should be a small can like this. I have this tuna can, which after we ate the tuna out of it, we washed it out with soap and water, and it's ready to use. One word of caution though, parents, if there's a little sharp edge in your can, from where you opened it, you might want to sand that down a little bit so that your child doesn't hurt themselves. Other than that, this is such a fun project. We're going to make a little diorama or scene inside of our can. Now, normally when people ask you to do a diorama like this, they ask you to do it in a shoebox or a box of some size, and those are fun to do as well. If you don't have a can, you could try it in a little square box. But the can is really fun because it's round and because it's very small, so this project can be done fairly quickly. So here's what you do. You take your nice clean can. You need a piece of paper. Put your can upside down and hold it down. And trace around the edge. Now I can see how big my drawing needs to be for the background. Now, I've already made a drawing for this one. I thought I would do an underwater scene. In 4th grade, we were doing underwater scenes right when school closed down. So here's an underwater scene with a shark and some little fish and even a treasure chest and an octopus. And after just drawing that, you want to color it in. Well, you can use anything you have for coloring. Crayons, colored pencils, paint if you have it. Whatever you have that can make some nice color in there. And so I would just start coloring that in, coloring in the water. And if you wait to cut it, then you can color outside the line of the circle, and it really doesn't matter very much, right? And you can just work on that a bit, color that whole thing in till it looks just the way you want it to. And I would color each of these fish, color the whole thing until it looks really nice, clear, colorful. Okay, so you go on coloring that. When you're done coloring it, take a scissors and cut it out. Now, because we were doing the outside of the can, but this is going on the bottom of the inside of the can, you can cut inside the circle just a little bit, and it should fit really well. So just cutting around. Like that. And this would go, and you can try it out. Oh, mine's slightly big, so, you know, it's tight in there too. So I think I could maybe even cut mine a little bit smaller. So go ahead. And when you've got that all cut the way that you like it, so that fits in nicely. Try that. Yeah, that works better. Then you want to just take your glue stick, put it all over the bottom, and press it into the bottom of your can. And then you're ready for the fun to start. Because what you want to do is add in some little things around the inner edge of the can. Now here's a finished one that I've already done. For this one, remember our perspective drawing? I did a little tiny water perspective drawing with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background there. And when I finished gluing that to the bottom of the can, I actually just cut some things out of magazines. They didn't even have to match perfectly or anything, but just to cover some of that space. Or you could just take your white paper and cut some strips and draw in there if you want to draw something special. On the bottom of the can, I used regular glue. It could be school glue or whatever kind of glue you have. And I just put it all over the inside bottom of the can, and I put sand. I happen to have some sand, so I sprinkled sand in there. And then I found some little rocks and I glued those on. The rocks took the longest time because they're on sort of the sides here, and so if I didn't have them balanced, whoop, the can would roll over. So we get some very specific problems that we have to figure out when we glue things in the bottom of the can. And then I found some little people and put them in. Now, you do not have to make an underwater scene or a water scene at all if you don't want to. The reason I did a water scene was that I had this little scuba diver, and so I thought I might draw a little fish and have it somewhere here and put the scuba diver in there like that and glue it in, and that it would be really fun. Also, it kind of goes with the tuna theme. But maybe you've used a different kind of can, like a pet food can, or this one, we had some green chilies, and this one my daughter made. I love this one. Almost looks like a little Georgia O'Keeffe painting down there. And she decided that she would make a scene of the desert because that kind of goes with the theme of the chilies. She's got some cactus plants and a nice sun and some flowers there. She even did the back of the can. And of course you could do the sides too. You don't have to leave the label on like we did. For example, here's one where she did the sides. Now this was the tuna can, and she isn't finished with this one yet, but she decided to make sort of a waterfall there with some rocks on the side and some grass and a big waterfall. And she's put some trees and some sky along the inner edge. On the outer edge, she's just done sort of a collage of fun things. And on the back, she wrote the name of the little girl she's giving this to. But I noticed that she found this little toy horse, and I predict she's going to glue it in there like that, like it came to the water to drink. Now you could also do an inside theme, like inside of a room, or maybe just outside of a house with, draw a little, if you have a little pet, you could put your little dog or cat or whatever pet you have in the pictures going in the front. It could be almost any kind of a scene inside of that can. And you just make your own little mini dioramas inside of these little cans. I plan to make maybe 5 of these little cans, and then I hope to find a board, put them all in a row. I'm going to call them Cannery Row, which is the name of a book by John Steinbeck. He was an author in California, and he wrote some fun books about living near Monterey. And I thought making Cannery Row would be a really fun thing to do with these cans. Maybe I'll put them outside so when my neighbors walk past my house, they can see Cannery Row and look at the little tiny scenes inside. Just something fun and interesting. So, if you make a really good can, a little scene of something, you could send it to me in an email and I'll write back to you. And I hope you have fun doing this project, okay? See you next time.